Tonight, on episode 16 of the Bigfooty Blues podcast, we discuss the upcoming game against Adelaide, what we got up to over the bye weekend, Heath Scotlland's retirement, and Levi Casbolt's kicking woes. All that coming up next on the Bigfooty Blues podcast. Good evening, and long last, here's the Bigfooty Blues Mod-Free Podcast, episode 16. Tonight, I'm your host, Happy Dude, but I don't want to be rude, so without further ado, here's our guest. First up, now a podcast veteran, she has a feminine voice and keeps our cast steady. Hope everybody is ready for Mebby.
Hi, everyone.
When he shouts, we all know what it's about. He can have a voice like an angry god, it's Shundog.
G'day, mate. Hello, everyone.
She may have us all under her spell. She can be as gracious as a gazelle, but that won't stop her from raising hell. Introducing Bluebell.
Hello, everyone.
And last but not least, he waved his wand to change the colour of his pond. Yes, he painted his abode. It's the toad.
Very, very good. I would be very worried if I was ODN. I'm liking this intro stuff. It's very good.
Oh my god, he's a poet and we didn't know it.
Yeah, there you go. First of all, obviously Carlton had the bye week this week, so there was no Carlton games for us to watch.
Did we win?
Yeah, well, we didn't lose.
I think we did, because Collingwood, Essendon and Richmond all lost, so that's a win for us.
It's probably as best to win as we can get without claiming 4 points. What did everyone get up to over the bye weekend?
I went to two other football games. I went to Essendon versus Sydney and Richmond versus Melbourne, which were both good games because Sydney and Melbourne won. And I also watched my nephew play football, so I watched a lot of football without actually seeing us play.
Alright, fair enough. Anyone else?
I managed to get a round of golfing, which is nice. I haven't done it in a long time. Went out with a mate, whacked the ball around all over the shop, and watched some football, and yeah, that was about it. But it was nice, actually. It was good to get over the break, and I feel refreshed. I think coming back into next week, I'm going to give it a red hot crack at watching the TV when we play.
Well, hopefully the boys feel as refreshed as you do.
Yeah.
Alright, so this week we got the Adelaide game at the MCG at 4:40, and I think it's safe to say that all bets are off.
Oh, no, don't do that.
We've named the extended side this week. Final changes come out tomorrow. Obviously Mitch Robinson's going to be out with suspension. Blaine Johnson's gotten the call up for the elevated rookie, which is good on him. So how does everyone think the team's going to line up?
Very interestingly, from how it's listed on the AFL website, it's Dennis Armfield full forward to the Stars. Who else is there? Sam Rowe's playing on Eddie Betts.
Yeah, Mark Murphy's centre-half forward as well. I think moving Dennis Armfield to full forward is robbing us of our awesome centre-half back of last year.
Yeah, I think it looks really interesting, though. I was saying this on the Crows board at their match day or match thread as well. I actually think we're a very similar team to them. We've both got, when all of our forwards are playing, we've both got three tall forwards. They've probably at the moment got the best one out in the park, and I hate to say it, but I've got to admit that Taylor Walker is probably the better of all the forwards that are going to be out there tomorrow. Having said that, he's not going to be in the greatest of form, hopefully anyway. But we've got some real solid old timers in the back with Jamison. They've got Rutten running around. Both got great centre lines. Theirs are probably a little better on the outside than ours have been. We're both in the same position this year as well. We've both lost to Melbourne. Both expected a lot more from our performances this year as well. I don't know, they're really, really similar teams. Plus, they've also got a couple of our players. So, So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I don't know how it's all going to unfold, and I really couldn't tell you what sort of team we're going to pick from that extended bench either. But I'm really looking forward to watching.
Yeah, just when you said that we're both pretty similar teams, I've noticed in stats that they're ranked 4th for kicks per game, 5th for handballs, 4th for disposals, 3rd for marks. and 5th for points, whereas we're ranked 12th for kicks, 18th for handballs, 17th for disposals, 12th for tackles.
So what you're saying is I was completely wrong?
In play style, it seems that, yes.
Yeah, in play style, absolutely, yeah. But the way that we line up on the park, though, it seems like very, you could find, the majority of each teams could find someone on the other team that mirrors that sort of player that they've got there, you know what I mean?
Yes. How about you, maybe?
Oh, I don't know how much I can talk about this game without getting upset, but it's our first game, obviously, playing against Adelaide now that they've got Eddie Betts. So I hope all I want is, obviously I still want us to win. That goes without saying. But I don't know. I can't really say too much about it because I've been trying not to think about it this week because I've been struggling and everybody is paying so much attention to me because like everyone at work is like, are you going to be okay this weekend? Yeah, I hope Carlton wins, that Eddie doesn't get booed, that neither teams get injuries because last year was pretty awful to see Walker go down like that for Adelaide and destroyed his season. So hopefully everybody's injury free. It's a nice clean game and we win and that's it.
All right, fair enough.
Try not to cry.
Yes, you got to try not to cry all week. How about you, Toad?
I think the inclusions of Waite and Carazzo is a massive win for us. I think that'll hold us in great stead. I've always been a fan of Jared Waite. If he can, keep his temper in check and hold on to his marks, I think he's one of our most important players. So I'm wrapped that he's back. And Carazzo, what do you expect from himself? He speaks for himself basically. He's a gun midfielder and can only do good things for our side. So yeah, I'm the same. I loved Eddie when he was at Carlton. I still like him now, I suppose, but not as much as I used to. Hope he has a good game, not a great game, because I usually tend to fight against their old sides. But I'm with Mary. I think as long as it's a good game and we get the points, I'll be wrapped. But Jared Waite back for me is a massive bonus for us.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, everyone seems to like Adelaide too much for my liking. I was just hoping for a good, fair game.
I don't like Adelaide. I hope we smash them.
All right, your turn, Bluebell.
No, look, interestingly enough, we haven't even won at the G this year, which is really disappointing. So I probably would have preferred to play this game at Etihad and in other years probably the G. But look, obviously, I hope people don't boo Eddie because I would have left if I was him as well, given the money that was thrown at him. But look, I think it'll be a tight game. I think there's some key matchups in the midfield in particular. I know that most of the board is sold on putting Army on Dangerfield, but I'm still not 100% sold on that. I just don't know who else we've got, given Kerno's still out. But Waite definitely straightens up our forward line, and hopefully Hendo can have a better game, given he's got some assistance up there. But I think some of the other key matchups, I think Rowe to Jenkins, Jenkins is their forward, I think. I think because he, I guess, got off the leash last week against Collingwood and kicked a few goals. So if he can be contained, that'll be good. Obviously, Walker's coming back from an injury, so he's not really, I wouldn't say he's 100% fit. So, just tie him down. But they had a debut last week, that young kid that's only played a handful of footy games but did really well. I don't know who we'll put on him, maybe Bucks if he doesn't go to Eddie. But I just hope we play our game. I hope we just don't try and shut them down, because when we attack well. Hopefully Gibbsy gets off the leash again like he did against St Kilda and we can have a good win. But I think we'll win.
Well, that's good. So everyone seems to think, or at least very least hope strongly, that we'll win this week. Anyone want to have a go at the margin?
13.
Carlton by 13?
We'll win by 13 points.
Carlton by 13.
I'm going for Blues by 32 points, and I reckon Casbolt is going to have one of the best games of his season, and I think he's going to kick about 4.
Yes, because
That's oddly
he hit
specific.
the post last time. So
he's building.
He was getting incrementally closer, and this time he's going to kick goals, and then everything's going to be great. Yeah. I'm excited for that, Shan.
I'm looking at their back line, and unless Rutten is playing on him, and actually Rutten may play on him a fair bit. He's probably not as mobile enough to play on, say, a Waite or a Henderson. So Rutten might go on him, but if he doesn't, I can't see one of their defenders who is really able to match it with him in a strength marking contest, and I think he's just going to towel up anyone who goes on him.
Is it just me, or is he not the most frustrating person at Carlton?
He's got to be up there.
He marks anything that comes near him and kicks like a total flog. So I just...
Yeah.
His field kicking's not too bad, it's just his goal kicking.
It's just...
In his head.
He needs to pick someone out in the crowd and kick it to them.
Kick it to me.
He's got a bad ball drop. That's his problem. He needs to sort that out.
I was listening to Alistair Lynch on the radio on my way home after work today, and he was saying how back in his younger days he went through a really, really bad patch. And it was seriously, every time he'd line up for a goal, he would just overthink it, and in his head would just be running through, there's 70,000 people here who all need you to kick this goal, but you're probably going to miss, blah, blah, blah. And he was just way overthinking it. And so once he broke it down into the steps, then he would actually think through, okay, put your head over the ball, drop it straight down, and would think through that way. That's the only way he improved his goal kicking. And so I'm hoping Levi was listening to that too, and maybe he's taken it on board and he can focus on the process rather than the outcome.
Maybe you should send him a tweet, maybe. Send him a tweet.
Good idea, yeah.
See, the problem with him, though, is it's definitely mental with him, no doubt at all, but as Bluebell said, he has a terrible ball drop. And until he actually fixes his technique so that it's much more reliable and he's going to kick a lot better with that, then I don't think it's going to be really tough for him anyway to fix that mental side of things, because if your technique is crap, I can pump myself up as much as I want trying to play a backhand in tennis, but I suck at doing it. My technique is terrible, it's never going to get better. So he's got to fix the technique as well.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand.
It's not like it's a new thing. It's been an ongoing issue for a number of years. Maybe get Kernahan out of his office and get down there and tell him to teach him how to kick them. I don't know.
I was going to say employ Fev.
Yeah,
well.
I said,
you know how I feel about him.
No one. My kids do that. No one.
All right. Moving on, I guess.
People coming, people going, people want to die. Don't ask me because I don't know why, but it's like that, and that's the way it is.
In news this week at Carlton, Heath Scotlland has decided to call it quits after 268 AFL games, 215 of which have been at Carlton. Blaine Johnson has been elevated to take his spot on the list. Blaine is a medium forward who is impressed with his 6 VFL performances this year, averaging about 15 disposals a game. Bryce Gibbs is set to sign a contract extension, rumoured to be around $500,000 a year plus incentives. Greg Swan has been quoted as saying, length is the only issue left to negotiate. Simon White is still under investigation for an incident outside a Melbourne nightclub last week, and Chris Judd's return has been delayed by a week. And the possibility of returning via the VFL has not been ruled out yet. And that's been the news. Alright, so that was the news. What do you guys think about the news that have come through the Carlton Football Club this week?
I think it looks like we might have learnt something, putting Judd back through the VFL when he does return. I know his return's delayed, but they did mention somewhere that when he does come back, it will be through the VFL. So hopefully, I know that wasn't the reason why he did his hammy, but I think it shows a good message that you can't just stroll back into the side and it doesn't really matter who you are. I think it's more about the message than anything. Super excited about Gibbs, and what a week to start leaking that information when we're playing Adelaide this week.
It almost sounds a bit planned, I felt.
Do you think it could be a little bit contrived? I don't know.
It doesn't seem like something that would happen in Days of Our Lives.
No, not at all. And when it comes to Simon White, it makes me think that there is much more to this story than first thought, and I'm glad that we kind of held off on having knee-jerk reactions, because surely the investigation wouldn't go on for this long if it was as cut and dried as he just punched someone in the face for no reason. So
I think
I hope everything works out.
Yeah, definitely. I think the last article I saw about it in one of the news publications was about how he was being harassed and other mitigating circumstances. So that's definitely a step up from, good game.
From what I read, he was being videotaped against his will and harassed. And I'm sorry, but I don't know anyone who actually goes for Carlton who would do that to somebody, like one of our own players. If they told you, stop filming me, why would you continue? So
the thing that stood out to me was when it said other mitigating circumstances. So that could be anything from it wasn't even White that did it to the guy started being physical with him first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bloody phone cameras. You can't go out without getting something stuck in your face, especially if you're a public figure now. It's just...
Yeah.
I actually feel really sorry for them. I mean, it gets to the stage now they've got to lock themselves in the house and never leave the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty terrible. I'm probably, out of all that, the thing that really most I enjoyed hearing about was Bryce Gibbs being close to signing. It's been a rumour for a couple of weeks around the boards that he was going to re-sign for about 5 years. But it's good for the club to come out and make some noise on it, especially before we play Adelaide, who are meant to be his biggest chasers.
Yeah, and particularly if it's for the money that they're talking, $500,000, I think that's a steal. So
yeah,
let's sign
$500,000 plus incentives, I think.
Yeah, which is that suits me
it's
fine.
Still a steal.
If you earn it, then that's fine, no problem.
And you know what? That says to me that if he's willing to take that sort of money as well, then he really does have the interests of the team at heart. He does. He could get more than that elsewhere.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Was he's going to take that much when he could get much more somewhere else. He's doing it for the team. It's almost like taking a pay cut, like the Sydney players did before they wasted the money on someone else.
Like what Geelong did too.
Yeah.
I remember when he first came to the club, it was one of his first contract re-signings. His father came out and said once he signs, he'll be a one-club player. And that was
for life. Yeah, I remember that.
And that was great to hear back then. So it's you don't really know, and this is the frustrating thing from a supporter, from my point of view as a supporter, is you don't know what's true and what's not true. I mean, he may have been said to the club, I'll sign those runners, we just worked a few little nicks and knacks out, and the media blow it up out of proportion to sell papers. You don't.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what they do. Yeah. I think the most shocking news to come out of that news break, Happy Dude, was Heath Scotlland.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up into our next segment. Talking about Heath Scotlland and his wonderful career with Carlton, definitely the saddest news to come out of the club for a little while. He's retiring at the end of the season and placed himself on the long-term injury list with an ankle problem. Obviously, it looks like he's not going to play another game, so he doesn't even get a farewell game, which I think is quite sad for him too. However, he does get a lap of honour on Sunday, which would be great to see.
Oh, great. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, before the game on Sunday, he's going around the G for a lap of honour, so that's definitely screaming out that he's not getting a farewell game, and he's only gone to the long-term injury list so he could elevate someone else.
Yeah.
If I remember serving correctly, we got him for pick 460 or something, didn't we?
Yeah, would have been about that. Yeah, after
Collingwood, so they let him go and they said, we'll give you a Carlton for bugger off so he can continue. And that's the best thing Collingwood's ever done for us was letting him go because he's been a bloody champion at Carlton. I love him.
Absolutely.
Just running through some of Heath Scotlland's numbers over the years. He was born on 21st of July 1980. He's played 268 AFL games, 215 of which have been with the Carlton Football Club. His AFL debut was in round 3 1999 against West Coast. Debuted for Carlton in round 1 2004 against Fremantle. He kicked 81 goals in his AFL career, 69 of which at Carlton, which of course screams out he played most of his footy in the back line. In 2004, he came 8th best in the best and fairest. In 2004, he also got the most Carlton votes in the Brownlow medal. He didn't hit the leadership group until 2007, at which he stayed until the end of his career. He won pre-season premierships with Carlton in 2005 and 2007. Came second in the best and fairest in 2007 and also polled the most Carlton votes in a Brownlow medal in 2007. He went on to finish 4th in the best and fairest again in 2011. The same year he got his life membership and won best clubman, and then went on to win the John Nichols medal in 2012. Very good career. Through some pretty dark days, he always put in 110%. I'll certainly miss having him around.
I think his consistency across his career has been one of his highlights. You could always rely on him, always putting together a consistent game, and I guess Mr. Fix-It too. He was always one of the reliable ones down back who, would sneak forward for a goal when we needed it. So, and just a great person to have around the club. I mean, the other night I got home from work and saw the news and jumped on Instagram, and my whole Instagram feed was just filled with, well wishes for him. So certainly loved by the club and loved by the supporters. So we'll definitely miss him.
So I guess for me, one thing I'll miss about Scotland is he was the absolute definition of a dual-sided player. It didn't matter whether it was his left foot or his right foot. He was fantastic on either side, and he was kind of one of those, I don't want to say forgotten, but whenever, at the end of every game, you know, how you do your debriefs with the people that you went with or whatever, and you talk about who was best on and stuff, we'd always name our players and then go, oh, Heath Scotlland, because he was just so consistently good that he never really stood out because he was always a top performer. He has been playing for Carlton since I was, I think, 16, when I really, really started to going to games by myself and buying memberships and stuff like that. So it's just not going to be the same for me without him. I'm really going to miss him, and I really hope Carlton keeps him around in some capacity for the younger kids. Maybe, I don't know if there was talk of him going into like a coaching role with the Northern Blues, and whatever it is, whatever capacity it is, I hope he sticks around the club because he's such a club man. And in his press conference when he spoke directly to, I assume it was Nick Graham being his mentor, it just sort of made me a bit emotional that he's not going to be around anymore. So I wish him all the best and thank him from the bottom of my heart because he was one of the very few that gave us some hope during those really horrible years. So it's a big loss. And I think he needs a lot of respect too for doing this now rather than taking up a spot maybe from Doherty for the rest of the year, you know, having one game on here and there when he felt like he was up to it. I think it says a lot about his strength of character that he can put his hand up and say, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's always a hard decision to know when.
Oh, look, as I was saying before, the best thing about him, in my opinion, was that every time he got the ball, I was nearly 100% confident he'd find someone. You never worry, like, when you see other players go, oh, crap, where's this going to go? You knew he was going to hit someone, and he was always reliable for that. He bled blue, and he gave 110% every game he played. You know, he put his body on the line time and again for us, and he's just going to be sorely missed in my opinion. I love his endeavour. I love his attitude, his willingness at the contest, and just his total commitment to Carlton was fantastic. So he will be sorely missed in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll keep it short. Everyone else has said it so well. The thing that I love about Scotlland, always have and always will, was he was such a team player. And that was not only on field by his brilliant team efforts all the time and how reliable he was, as Tony was saying as well, but the fact that, as an example, going back to the rookie list, so he could free up other spots and doing that team thing there, even willing to go that far for the team, just shows how much of a top bloke he was, how much the team would have loved him, the players there, and that's why he was such a fan favourite. He was a general while we were playing some terrible football. You know, we loved watching what he was doing. He was always a player we could rely on. And the only thing that I'm really sad about is the fact that he never got to win a premiership with us. Because if you go down a list of people that you think would deserve a premiership, he's got to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's sad, obviously, to see him go, but all good things have to come to an end, and just good that we could start bringing through some more young talent to help us get to that next step, the premiership that we so sorely feel that we need after the last 19 years.
And I wish you well as a firefighter.
You idiot.
I was waiting for someone to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, up next is Boardwalk.
Take it away, Shani.
Yeah.
That's an awful falsetto.
Alright,
Is that what it is?
Alright, thirds on the Carlton board this week. Any that has caught anyone's eye? Obviously, there's the Heath Scotlland thread that's got a fair few people talking and reminiscing about the old Heath Scotlland. Anything else anyone's noticed?
Someone's come along and put which club is Carlton's biggest rival, which is from someone called Crazy John. So they're asking out of everybody whether it's Collingwood, Essendon or Richmond. Personally, for me, it would have to be Collingwood because obviously there's history there, but also a little bit of respect for Collingwood, whereas Essendon can go die in a hole and Richmond isn't worth our time bothering about. So Yeah, can go die in a hole. And Richmond, I don't even pay too much attention to. I don't think they're worth worrying about. So I think that's an interesting thread to get everybody's different perspectives on rivalries in this day and age, not necessarily big ones from the past.
Yeah, I think we get a thread like that come up at least every year, or even twice a year, who's our biggest rival. It's quite common, but interesting to note this time is someone's put Richmond down as an option, and they have aptly received 0 votes.
I quite like the thread, what would you like to see from the Blues for the rest of the year? It was actually well-timed question. We're almost halfway through. Got a bit of an idea about where the team is at. And Jamaki, I think, or perhaps it's a soft J, Yamaki. He started that thread. And it's been really interesting to read that and actually what different people's expectations are of what they want to see for the rest of the year. So, I mean, you get the full spectrum of people who are going, just want to play all the kids, I've given up already, to people saying that we want some consistency, turn it around and make the finals as well.
Yeah,
I think everyone wants to make the finals this year.
Oh, there's no reason why we can't.
Not necessarily. There's people on there saying finish as low as possible and get ourselves a
you don't. That doesn't build a winning formula.
Oh, you're telling me? I didn't write that.
The season's not over. I mean...
I know.
Bloody Meb.
Look, we haven't had a great year, but...
Bloody Meg. What's that about?
Sis, could you just be optimistic for once, maybe?
What a jerk.
I mean, we've had a crap year, but we're certainly not out of it yet.
Well, we've won 3 of our last 4.
Exactly, but I mean, we've really beaten nobody.
No, I wasn't going to mention that.
We'll have to beat one of the top sides in the coming weeks.
We will.
We're playing Hawthorn and Geelong, so we've got plenty of opportunity.
Well, I mentioned it on the boards as well. I think very, very ironically this year, I'd rather be playing Hawthorn at Etihad.
I know.
But you know what? The Hawthorn game is on the eve of our 150th celebration. It might just be enough to get the boys up. They've got a lot of injuries at the moment, so, you never know. And we haven't beaten them for a while, so we're overdue. I
think it's come to the longest running bogey side.
They are. We've beaten all our other bogey sides.
Yeah, so. I mean, in the AFL.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Now, I'm with you, Toadie. I reckon we are going to pick up a lot towards the second half of the season. And even listening to things like the Carlton podcast that had Jamison on it as well this week, and the recurring theme we keep hearing from all the players is that they think we're a lot closer to success than that media and external people give us credit for. So that fills me with a lot of confidence, actually, because they wouldn't say that. I don't think they would say that unless they actually genuinely believed it, the way that they're saying it.
Yeah, look, we're not that far off. I mean, we're only 2 or 3 games out of the 8, so we're not that far away. Just a couple, we'll smash that, mate, because they're crap.
I think we're only a game out of the 8, aren't we?
Yeah, we're a game in percentage. Yeah. A whole lot of percentage.
We might struggle against Hawthorn, maybe. I don't know why.
We're a game behind Collingwood.
Oh God!
Just putting it out there.
I think we'll be alright. I think we'll come home alright. We'll start. It's all about confidence. We win a couple of games, and the Bulls will start believing in themselves, and then we'll go alright. Just gotta. If they had a couple of wins, yeah, we've beaten nobody yet. But if we just have one win against a better opposition side, I think the tide will change, and we'll come home with a wet sail at the end of the year.
Hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it was Stig that raised it on the boards earlier in the year that so even this season he wouldn't be surprised to see a team make 8th on percentage and 6 wins. So let's hope if that happened, it's us.
6 wins?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, look,
like
I think that's a bit optimistic.
Yeah, I was going to say, taking a leaf out of your book, Maddie.
I know.
Yeah.
Infectious.
Yeah, well, it was Stig that suggested that, so...
Yeah,
take that what you will.
What was it, though? If it was late, you don't listen to anything he says it late at night. We all know that.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was late at night, but I get up quite late at night, so I don't know. My time's all around. I guess that's as good a time as any to wrap it up for the week.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, see you guys. I can take a hint.
Alright, good night, maybe.
Good night, everybody. Go Blues, and please don't boo Eddie. Okay, thanks.
Alright, good night, Bluebell.
Good night, everyone. Go Blues.
Good night, Toad.
Sayonara, people. It's been fun. Go Blues.
Alright, and I think that's everyone.
Hey!
Right.
Good night, Sandog.
Good night, mate. See you, everyone.
Alright, see you around on the forums.
Da, 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 da.
Well done.
Da, da, da.